Good morning, Bhante. Good morning, Brian.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Everybody. So many.
Okay. Okay, Bhante.
Okay, let us begin with the metta recital. May all beings be happy and secure. May all beings have happy minds. Whatever living beings there may be, without exception, weak or strong, long, large, medium, short, subtle or gross, visible or invisible, living near or far, born or coming to birth, may all beings have happy minds. Let no one deceive another, nor despise anyone anywhere. Neither from anger nor ill will should anyone wish harm to another. As a mother would risk her own life to protect her only child, even so towards all living beings, one should cultivate a boundless heart. One should cultivate for all the world a heart of boundless loving friendliness, above, below, and all around, unobstructed, without hate or resentment, whether standing, walking, sitting, lying down, or whenever awake. One should develop this mindfulness. This is called divinely dwelling here, not falling into erroneous views, but virtuous and endowed with vision, removing desires for sensual pleasures. One comes never again to birth in the womb. Friends, with this very wonderful, almost entire teachings of the Buddha is presented in this discourse in a nutshell. And keep this mind. Let us start our mindfulness practice. We pay attention to our breathing, which is universal, clean, and neutral. It doesn't belong to any particular person or country or nation or religion, but it is universal factor that condition our body. Keeping this in mind, we breathe in and notice the breath touching our nostrils, expanding our lower abdomen and expanding our chest area. As we breathe out, lower abdomen contracts, chest area contracts, and the breath leaves our nostrils. This happens every time we breathe in and out, whether we are aware or not. The difference is that when we are aware of this reality, we gain insight of the truth, that is impermanence. Even whether we like it or not, it is there, whether the Buddhas come into existence or not. And therefore we notice the breath is moving, rising and falling. Feeling rises and falls. Perception rises and falls. Thoughts rise and fall. Consciousness rises and falls. This happens each time we breathe in and out. The feeling we had when we were breathing in would no longer be there when we breathe out. What we experience when we breathe out will not be there when we breathe in. So you can see very clearly in your personal experience, the reality is always there, so we pay attention to it. As we do so, We also notice that there is nothing for us to hold on to as everything is moving. Our greed slowly fades away. As greed fades away, the mind becomes even more relaxed, calm, peaceful. The body becomes calm, relaxed, and peaceful. The breath becomes calm, peaceful, and relaxed. And then in that relaxed, peaceful state, we loosen up. Our rigidity of tightness fades away, creating a space for metta feeling to arise. Metta feeling does not arise when we are uptight and rigid or full of resentment, and resentment fades away. And then also we notice our mind opens up to suffering beings, and then compassion arises. When this happens, then our mind becomes even more active, and sleepiness and drowsiness fade away, or restlessness and agitation fades away. And then mind becomes active, sleepiness and drowsiness fade away. Seeing all this happening, the doubt that we had previously would no longer be there. When the doubt fades away, all these, what we call hindrances, greed, resentment, restlessness and worry, sleepiness and drowsiness and doubt, they slowly fade away. Then mind would be full of joy, happiness that leads to concentration. With the concentrated state of mind, we see the deepest changes taking place in us, deepest changes taking place in our form, the breath, feeling, perception, thoughts, and consciousness. They always change only when the mind is concentrated. That concentrated mind can see these deepest changes, and that is why the Buddha repeatedly mentioned Samahitam Chittam Yatha Bhutam Pajanati. Concentrated mind sees things as they really are. What as they really are mean? Things are changing all the time. And we notice that, noticing that we continue our practice. This is short practice, but this is how it happens even in a longer practice. Dukkha patta cha niddukkha bhaya patta cha nibhaya soka patta cha nisoka hontu sabbe pipanino. May the suffering be free from suffering. May the fear struck be free from fear. May the grieving be free from grief. So too may all beings be. with this metta wish, let us try to focus our mind on the answers to these questions that my friend is going to ask me.
Okay. Bhante, these first two questions come from a person who has had one or more glimpses of Anata, so that's sort of the background. And I think your response will cover both the answers to both questions, so I'll just ask both questions. Number one is, what is the difference between the abiding anatta of stream entry and full awakening? And the second question is, how can one experience abiding anatta and yet still be confused by sense desire, delusion, or ill will?
Okay. The first question, could you repeat?
What is the difference between the abiding anatta of stream entry and full awakening?
Okay, that is the first question. Difference between the abiding
Anatta
anatta of
of
stream
stream
entry.
entry
Okay. And full enlightenment, full awakening.
and full awakening, arhatship.
Okay. When one attains the stream entry, the notion of self will no longer be there, especially you attain the stream entry depending on your awareness of non-self, no self. That is, Buddha gave a asked a very simple and very profound. It's a most wonderful, one simple question. In the Anata Lakkana Sutta, the discourse on the characteristic of non-self. What is this question? There were five venerable monks, one of whom had attained the first stream entry, and Buddha knew that others cannot attain it because of not getting the answer to this question. So Buddha opened their minds to make investigation, the factor of enlightenment, the second factor of the Bojjhanga. The first is mindfulness, second is investigation. So investigation is the key to see non-existence of self or the absence of self. Buddha mentioned it in many places, atta hi atmano nati, kuto putta kuto dhanam. One does not belong to oneself. How can one can claim the ownership of their wealth and children and so forth? This is what is the question. I did not mention the question. Question is, this question we must remember, never forget this question. Although the Buddha is not here, he left this question with us for us to use it as a mantra. Every moment we meditate, we must ask this question. The question is form permanent or impermanent? That is the question. Are feelings permanent or impermanent? Perception is permanent or impermanent? Thoughts are permanent or impermanent? Consciousness is permanent or impermanent? This is the question. We repeat this question 5 times or 5 aggregates. You don't have anything else. That's all we have. That's all we have. 5 aggregates. A collection for various particles makes form. collection of various feelings called feelings. Feeling aggregate. Aggregate simply means a collection. A collection of various type of perception through eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body and mind. And the collection of thoughts, all kind of trillions of thought. And consciousness, eye consciousness, ear consciousness, and so forth. These are the collection, groups that we have. The whole bundle of us are made up of these 5 bundles. And ask this question, is form permanent or impermanent? When you attain the stream entry, you have to get the answer to this question. If you don't ask this question, you don't get 100% mark. You must get, you get 100% marks. Only then can you attain the stream entry. So, with this answer, what is the answer? Is it permanent or impermanent? What is the answer? Impermanent, Venerable Sir. Okay, if it is impermanent, it is satisfactory or unsatisfactory? Unsatisfactory, Venerable Sir, that was the answer they gave. And that is the answer we give to ourselves. You ask Jim, if you are a Jim, you ask Jim, your body is permanent or not impermanent? Impermanent. If it is impermanent, it is satisfactory or unsatisfactory? Jim, it is unsatisfactory. Why is that? When something is impermanent, you have to keep repairing it. You repair and repair and repair and repair. This repairing is called sankhara. You repair. And then this repairing is pleasant or unpleasant. It's a very big headache. You keep doing it again and you get tired of repairing this aggregates. Look at, for instance, body. How much you do to repair the body? Body is always being conditioned. Conditioned by what? Conditioned by breathing, conditioned by food, medicine and so forth and so on. And therefore they are, the breath that we breathe in and out is not permanent, it is impermanent. How the body breath conditions the body? Because brings oxygen into the body. If oxygen doesn't come to the body, this body will not exist. Every fraction of a second we breathe. Every time we breathe, we bring oxygen to recharge our deoxygenated cells to live. See how it is repairing? And in spite of all this body is wearing out and we keep repairing. I know it for myself. For 92 years I have done that, willingly or unwillingly, and I know it is impermanent. My feeling, perception of Jim, you ask yourself. I don't know whether you are Jim or not. I just use this name. And your perceptions, you perceive so many things. Ask yourself, are these perceptions permanent or impermanent? Impermanent. When they are impermanent, you have to recharge them. You have to have new perceptions again and again and again. Your thought, your feelings, your consciousness, they keep preparing and changing all the time. Actually, this is called knowledge and vision, jnana darsana. Jnana is knowledge. In this case, darsana is seeing. When you have this knowledge and seeing, knowledge is that you accumulated throughout all your life. You have lived so many years and you have accumulated this knowledge. And through that knowledge you can see the truth exactly as it is. What is the truth? Impermanence. The very simple question and profound question that the Buddha asked these venerable monks. And this is the question we have to ask ourselves, honestly, sincerely, without any bias. Keep asking this question day and night. anytime you want to focus yourself on yourself, ask this question. When you get a very clear answer through your knowledge and vision, you attain the stream entry. When you attain the stream entry, anytime you may not pay attention to. When you don't pay attention, you may not know that there is no self. Only when you pay attention, normally the notion of self is present when we are paying attention. When we don't pay attention, we don't know whether there is self or not self. We just work. Now, when you pay attention to these aggregates and you see impermanence, at the same time, permanence cannot exist in your mind. Just remember, in physics, no two objects can occupy the same space at the same time. No two objects. You know that. Similarly, no two thoughts can exist in the mind at the same time. So, when you see impermanence, the notion of permanence cannot exist. When you see there is no self, the notion of self cannot exist at the same time. When you incorrectly think that there is I, you see I incorrectly. But when you see I and ask the question, is this I permanent or impermanent? You see, next moment it is no longer there. So you open your eyes to the truth all the time. All the time. So you remember today is Saturday. Sunday and Saturday don't happen at the same time. If it is Saturday, that is Saturday. It cannot be Sunday. Of course, this is conventionally agreed terms to divide times. Similarly, the word notion of I, we accept our society in order to make our communication easy. We all agree to use the word I, you, we, he, she, and so on. We agree to use it. But at the same, even you attain enlightenment, fully enlightenment, Arahant, you have to use it. Even the Buddha used it, the conventional terms. And that we use with understanding and real vision of non-self. When you are fully enlightened, the difference between this and that, until you attain full enlightenment, the I consciousness keeps lingering in your mind. It is lurking under your consciousness, lurking there. So when you attain stream entry, all its apparent gross form completely vanishes, and when you attain the full enlightenment, the notion of I, called I maker, called ahankara, that ahankara will totally vanish. Then not only the notion of I, but the I maker also will disappear. I maker. You make these eyes, eyebrows and so forth. These days people, shave the eyes and make eye look beautiful. Not that eye. But the notion of I, the most frequently used one single word in English language. In other languages also they use the notion similar to this in their own language. That is the word, the notion that they use more often than anything else. So, the difference between the attainment of stream entry and full enlightenment is that during stream entry, you seeing impermanence, you really practically understand that there is no permanent self. And yet, that stays until you attain, that stays until you are, even when you attain the anagami state. Even anagami state, you still have this I maker, ahankara, that will totally vanish when you attain full enlightenment. Now, the next part, the part of the next, the second question is, uh, okay, second part of the question, how can one experience abiding anatta and still be confused by sense desire, delusion, or ill will? Of course, friend, uh, if you have experienced anatta perfectly, clearly, you will not be confused. You will have a desire, and sometimes you may even have anger, not ill will. Ill will is a very powerful mental, negative mental state. You have desire. You have a desire until you attain full enlightenment. Don't assume that you will overcome and completely destroy your desire by attaining stream entry, because even the stream enterer can marry and have children and so forth and do business and so on. They can do that. Once return also may do that. Only anagamis will withdraw from all these things, and especially desire and ill will, anagami will not have. But until you but the desire the exists until you attain full enlightenment. So you may get confused if you don't have destroyed your what you call notion of self, because you have ego. So once you destroy the notion of self, you will not be totally free from confusion. But but I must say, until you destroy ignorance, you may have unclear state of mind. Unclear state of mind. Like when the Buddha was very sick, Venerable Ananda, who had already attained the stream entry, when Buddha was very, very sick, Venerable Ananda felt very dizzy in a way, as not to know what to do. When Buddha recovered, Venerable Ananda was very happy that he recovered. During that short period, Venerable Ananda had some unclear state of mind, not because of because he had the notion of self, but because he has not completely destroyed his desire and his attachment to the Buddha. Even though he has attained stream entry. So attaining stream entry doesn't mean that you have destroyed all the defilements. Okay. Okay. Any other question?
Yes. Here's one. Dear Bhante and Brian, would like to ask if, let's see, in the 7 factors of enlightenment, there is piti and equanimity. We consider fourth jhana as the highest form of equanimity. In order to attain fourth jhana, one abandons piti. How can piti and equanimity coexist as factors of enlightenment at the same time? Does this mean that different factors of enlightenment don't coexist at the same time?
Yeah, you are right. When you attain the fourth jhana, you don't have piti. You remember the fourth jhana, sukha, even attaining the third jhana, piti aja viraga upekha sato sampajano. Even when you attain the third jhana, your piti will no longer be there. Much less when you attain the fourth jhana. And upekha start becoming prominent in the third jhana, although it was there in a rudimentary, unclear form in lower jhanas as well, but it comes to the forefront when you attain the third jhana. And it becomes pure and clean when you attain the fourth jhana. Both mindfulness and equanimity becomes very clear when you attain the fourth jhana. I repeated the formula several times. Upekha satipārisuddhiṃ chatutta jhānaṃ upasampadya viharati. Also, I mentioned when one attains the fourth jhana, both equanimity and mindfulness becomes pure and clean. And the equanimity, the highest kind of equanimity is the equanimity without belief in my equanimity. That is called atammayata. Atammayata. That is the atammayata means that which is mine. Tammayata is that which is mine. Atammayata is that which is not mine. Meaning equanimity arises totally free from all other feelings. That is the highest kind of equanimity. As you know, equanimity is Nānatta-sita equanimity, Ekatta-sita equanimity. Nānatta-sita means equanimity arising through six senses. That is Nānatta-sita equanimity, Nānatta-sita upekha. Ekatta-sita upekha is the equanimity that arises in the fourth jhana and on, continues up to the neither perception nor non-perception, equanimity. And even that equanimity is not perfectly clear, although it is clean to a very great extent in the fourth jhana, but the final and the last cleanest state of equanimity can one find when the mind is free from those notions called I consciousness. I consciousness, if equanimity arises with this, that equanimity is not 100% pure. Therefore, it is called atammayata, perfectly clear, pure equanimity. The Buddha said that is the highest kind of equanimity. So definitely, as you said, piti is not in the equanimity. Okay? Next question. We have a few more minutes for another question.
Dear Bhante, is seclusion a feasible option for those of us who are with family and performing daily tasks? Or do we need to be in a self-isolation/retreat?
Now, actually, if somebody learns how to take time off from everything, one can have seclusion even in one's own house. Of course, if the house is very noisy, there are children and music going on, TV going on, visitors come and so forth, you cannot have quiet time or place to have seclusion. Uh, you can have seclusion in a quiet place. You have to select that. So, physically, you are talking about a physical seclusion. And if physical seclusion is possible, then you have to have the other higher seclusion, which is called mental seclusion. Mental seclusion has two types. One is by gaining jhana. Other is the highest mental seclusion, that is totally free from psychic irritants or mental defilements. That is the highest type of seclusion. That is called upadhi viveka, seclusion from all kind of holding assets, free from all of them. You have to think that kind of seclusion you can have temporarily for a very brief moment, even in midst of activities. If you know impermanence, impermanence very clearly, because you can see everything that arises in the mind is slipping away, disappearing, as quickly as it appears. If you can focus your mind on that very most subtle, the briefest moment, you have a seclusion at that time. So, if you are physically secluded and go away to a cave or solitary place or forest and so forth, if you carry this desire and resentment and so forth, all this jargon in your mind, you are not secluded. You are with the company. In order to be in this total perfect seclusion, you must see this most subtle, the briefest moment of impermanence. Things appearing and disappearing, the mind does not hold on to, cannot hold on to anything. It's simply, you actually can be absorbed in that perfectly clear, briefest moment without holding on to anything, because things are changing so quickly. And if you can catch that quickest changes in yourself, then you can have a mental seclusion, very good seclusion, even in a busy place. So it is a very, all depends, as I mentioned in dependent origination, this whole series of talks on dependent origination, everything depends on how, when, where we train our mind to see the truth. With this, I want to conclude this morning's talk of answering questions. As I mentioned, we started our morning meditation with metta, and now we want to conclude this session with metta. That doesn't mean metta is complete or finished, ended, or the practice is ended. This is the ending of a particular session. Both the practice and metta will continue in our life. Friends, let us wish all those beings who are currently suffering from COVID 19, hospitalized, and are under the care of doctors, nurses, and hospital staffs. We want them to be free from that disease and return to their regular life and live long in very good health and continue their Dhamma practice. Others are there who also are suffering for losing their loved ones, uh, grieving, and we want to wish them to be free from that grief through the understanding of Dhamma. There is no other way to overcome grief, only through perfect or clear understanding of Dhamma we can overcome that, and I want them to have this understanding of Dhamma and overcome their griefs. And there are some others who are helping them in many ways, doctors and so on. Others are making financial support and material support to help these people. There are leaders some leaders have done very wonderful job and reduced this virus spreading in their own respective areas, and other leaders are still maybe trying hard and thinking day and night of ways of reducing this, and may they have wisdom, understanding, determination, and compassion to come up with reasonable solution to help these people. With this metta thought, let us end this session, and I thank you very much for your participation. And if you don't participate and encourage me, I would not take time to teach this Dhamma. If there is no audience, whom shall I teach? Teach myself. Okay, I hope you continue your practice and attain liberation. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Bhante.